I've worked with a lot of sales reps where they spend too much time with the influencer, and there's nothing like wrong with that as long as you're aware of the actual capabilities that person has on either influencing the decision or actually making the decision, which they typically don't. So how do you identify that?
You want to find a champion, generally speaking, and you want to have sales process. So, I love the whole phrase BMANTER: budget, mandate, access, need, timing, risk, but there's a bunch of them like medic and these types of things. You want to find a champion that by working with you, they look like the hero in their company. So now all you're doing is helping the champion actually bring the deal home. So if you offer value to a company, then that champion's going to sell internally. And they're going to listen to that person that works there a lot more than they're going to listen to Drew Lasky on Zoom.
Hmm.
So all you're trying to do is identify the mobilizers, the people that have gotten deals done. And you can figure out who the mobilizers are by asking them very direct questions. Like, hey, have you onboarded any software in the last 3 months? After you have built a relationship with them, of course, you want to just start off like that. But find out, have they done deals? Or are they just, someone that's not wasting time, but they're just not people that take action? You need to find the people that were involved in the deals, right? So you could go on their website and look at press releases. You can look at blogs, read their blogs. Like, who's writing those blogs? Use that as an opportunity to reach out to those people. There's just a lot of different touch points, but you want to find a champion and you want to latch a mandate onto a need. So like the idea between need and mandate, everyone has a need, but not everyone has a mandate. A mandate's coming from the top. A mandate's coming from the CEO. We need to lower carbon emissions by 20%. A need is like, we want to drive more efficiently, right? So if you can figure out a way that proves that you're going to be able to lower carbon emissions and latch that need on to the bigger mandate, now you can drive past all of the blockers of an enterprise deal. Those people are the ones that make a lot of money. But on the flip side is so many times you get into a deal where someone has a need but not a mandate, and you go through this extensive evaluation and you tell everyone the deal's going to close and it doesn't.
There's nothing worse than that. I don't care how good you are as a salesperson, everybody has experienced that multiple times. It is the worst feeling ever. And it's all that work. And at the end of the day, it doesn't turn into any commission and no money coming home.
Yeah.
So taking this even like deeper, you have the mandate and you have the need, and then you have all these influencers, and then you're trying to then tie in multiple touches in between these meetings. What's something that you've done to like convert that need into a mandate while working with an influencer, not a decision maker directly?
Tough because you can always influence, but you can't change. So like you can't just turn someone that's cold because you're a good sales rep, right? If they don't have that mandate, you're wasting your time. You
Hmm.
need to first of all have a product that solves a real problem, because if you can save someone money or save them time or make them more efficient, then you have something of value. But a lot of times people are just like selling a product that people don't really need. So, ask yourself like, if I were them, would I buy from me? Like, if you can make that so compelling, you can sell, right? But if you wouldn't buy your own product because you don't even believe in it, you shouldn't be selling that product. You probably should find something else. Kind of like what you did in your career. Like you got really passionate about something else,
Hmm.
and that's where your heart and soul was. And that's why you're successful at it now, because you're putting your heart and soul into it. I know I kind of went a little off topic there, but
No, but that's a good point though. It's like once you learn sales, you can take your skill set and move into other industries. And yeah, look, there's different nuances, and that's the reason why we have the show, so we can share with the audience what the different, processes are like in different industries. But once you learn those skills of isolating the objection, uncovering what their actual need is and what their problems are and how the problems are affecting their business and what their business looks like after those problems are solved and why they can't wait to solve those problems and they need to happen now, you can translate that into really any industry. So, and it goes to show, I mean, you're the perfect example. You've gone into three major industries. You've been able to take everything from network marketing and put it into enterprise sales. Then enterprise sales, now you're growing this super cool cigar business, which I do want to talk about right now to kind of wrap up before we get into the final four. But your cigar business, I mean, you're working with some really amazing endorsers, doing a lot of cool stuff too with the community on a couple of your partnerships. So just really quick for the audience, just tell them a little bit more about your cigar business and how it could possibly benefit them as well.
Yeah, well, first off, it's cigars.com with an S,
With
not a
an
C.
S.
Cigars.com, 6-letter domain, phenomenal. I accidentally got into cigars.com. I've tried many businesses in my life, but never really had true heart and soul into them. And cigars, everything lined up. I was working with, one of my best friends who is an ex-UFC and NFL sports agent. And it started off with us just wanting to do a partnership with a UFC athlete. And then that merged into doing partnerships with athletes from the UFC, PGA, NASCAR. And it was just a lot of fun, right? And I think the biggest lesson is you always have to be open to pivoting and you have to test the market, right? If you have passion, it's fuel, but eventually that fuel runs out if you're not making money, right?